afternoon to all, and welcome back to Check Within podcast.
So today I want to talk about, in terms of the topic, what are some reasons why persons may be hesitant or may not necessarily see massage therapy as a priority or making it a part of their lives, or to bring it into the way that they live, for the better well-being of themselves and the optimal benefits to their body. And these are just 7 reasons that I have that is going to kind of shed light on the reason why persons may kind of shy away from bringing massage therapy into their scope or into their space of well-being. And the first one is that they see massage therapy as being not important. It's not really a priority for them. They don't see it as unnecessary because it's not something that's high on their agenda. And reason being is that because they feel well, they feel okay, nothing's going on with them, they have no aches, they have no pain, everything is good, so there's no discomfort. I'm well, I don't have no restrictions, so I am perfectly fine. So that is not really for me. It's not a priority for me right now. And that's a good thing, because we are well and we all want to be well. But I tell persons that, the importance of massage therapy is not just that you're well and you don't see it as being a need or a thing in your life, but massage therapy has to be where it can fall into 2 aspects. And I tell persons it can either be one, for maintenance or preventative, or 2, to heal or treat a particular problem. And that is because, it's not all about just waiting for something to happen to you to then see it as a priority. So it's just like with anything, it's about doing the things beforehand so that you could prevent something from happening to you in the future, or that could happen to you in the future. And doing massage therapy really, really helps to, let's say, to alleviate certain things along the line as we age. So sometimes we have, not sometimes, but a lot of times, because we're using the body, and the body is a mechanism that we use for life, it can have points where we develop joint pain, muscular pain, and all different sometimes ailments can happen in the body. And that is where massage therapy comes as a preventative measure to help you to keep your muscles pliable, to help you to be flexible, and to just help you along the journey of life. And it's just like with diabetes. Diabetes, we all know it's a lifestyle disease, and because it's a lifestyle disease, it's something that is reversible. And it's not just me saying this, but it's been proven scientifically, and there are many others who have said and experienced this for themselves. So it's nothing new. And diabetes occurs because of the fact of lifestyle, our lifestyle. When we're young, we're eating whatever we want, we're doing whatever we want. And there's a certain point along this journey that we end up changing certain structures and things within our body that causes this particular, they call it disease, lifestyle disease, to disrupt things, and we kind of get what we call diabetes. And that is the same thing with massage therapy. So if we're young and we're taking precaution as to how we're treating our body and what we're doing and what we're eating and what we're consuming, the likelihood of this happening is going to be very, very small, because we have changed and we have tweaked things prior to prevent this particular situation with diabetes. And it's the same thing with massage therapy. If we can incorporate this as a lifestyle tool, then when we're getting older, then some of the things that could happen along the journey of life, like a constant restrictive joint mobility, muscle aches and soreness. All these things could be prevented because we're helping the body to become more pliable, the muscles to become more open, less restrictions, and it helps to alleviate a lot of bodily ailment along the journey of life. As well as the same time, when it comes to total recovery, that is where it is going to help along the journey to help prevent certain problems or fix certain problems, within a holistic scope. So I understand when people say it's not that important, it's not a priority. I understand why they say it's not a priority, but then you take into consideration that preventative measures is always good to take note of as well. So the second reason why persons tend to not see this as a necessary part of life is because they say it's too, they don't have the money for it, or it's too costly or too expensive. And I totally understand where that is coming from in terms of, seeing it as a cost factor, or it's a financial issue. And it's totally understandable why persons may see it as a financial issue. But the thing about it is that what I tell persons is that massage therapy could either be, a tool in your arsenal where it really, really helps to help keep these issues of limitation, restriction from you, and it can help you in the future. So when we see it as that, I think that's when the part of it being too much of a financial problem would not really be a big thing. But if it is not seen as that, that is where it will actually be, seen as a financial problem, because it's not really something that you really take as a holistic perspective in terms of your health and it being a contributing factor. And at the same time, I understand as well that when it can also be considered costly, because when you have a particular problem, that is where, it will take more sessions to actually try to alleviate the issue or fix the problem, and that is where the cost factor could arise. And I understand why someone may have that thought pattern of it being too costly and stuff like that. But I also tell persons, massage therapy, it could be much more less when we sometimes weigh the cost factor of probably having to do a surgery or probably having to do some other type of procedure rather than a non-invasive one like massage therapy that can help. So sometimes weighing the cost as to, doing a couple of sessions that may have a certain value attached, or doing a particular surgery or whatever other procedure to fix the problem. And you can actually see, which could be more, which is better. And so I understand of the factor of cost, but as I said, costs arise when, sometimes, most times, persons don't see it as it being a tool or a wellness tool. Two, because like everything else, we have bills, we have this, we have that, and it's a priority for us. We know that we have to do this every month. We know that if we don't do this, this is going to happen. So when we see things as priority, then, or important, then we make the necessary adjustments to incorporate it. We find the finances to make it happen. And that's the only how sometimes cost doesn't always seem or have to be a problem for someone. But I understand why the thought pattern of it being too costly can pop up, because of such and such and such issues of having to do a cumulative amount of sessions sometimes, and it can be that thought pattern of it being too costly at times. But once we can make things important lifestyle factors to us, I think that's where the aspect of it being too costly trickles away, right? So the other one that persons might see that the reason why they don't go for a session is they don't have time, and that is something that I totally understand. Many would say, I don't have time, I don't have the time for this, my time is so busy. But I tell individuals that when something is not important to you, that is something that we will see. We don't have time, and that is where we can really see or understand when something is not important. But if something does happen to someone, that is when you want to fix the problem, you want it to go away, you want to get rid of this thing, and we find the time to make it happen. So when something is not important to one, it's never really an agenda or a top-notch priority. Time will always be a factor of not having the time to do something. So once you can see it as an important factor to your lifestyle, to your well-being, to your advancement, to your optimal health, then time would not be a problem, and it's just gonna happen. You're gonna just make it happen when the month comes, and you're gonna make it happen whenever the need arises to do it. So that is a number 3 why someone would say they don't have they wouldn't be able to do, or they can't incorporate massage therapy into their lifestyle, right? Number 4 is uncomfortable with being touched or massaged. And that is totally understandable, because a lot of times, persons have that thing, they don't feel comfortable with people touching them. And touch is one of the most beautiful, dynamic things that creates human connection. And I don't think it's because they don't like to be touched. I think it's because sometimes we have this way we are all made up differently, and there are some things that it's going to be totally okay for me, and it may not necessarily be okay for someone else. So for example, I am totally okay with taking care of and treating someone who has like a bad ulcer. I do not, nothing affects me. I'm not in any way feel any upset feeling. I don't feel anything. And whereas there is someone else who cannot stomach to see an open wound, right? So we all function very differently, and it's the same way. What could be comfortable for me may not be comfortable for you. So when someone says they don't like to be touched, it's not that they don't like to be touched or they don't like to be hugged, but they don't like the fact of someone being or seeing them or exposing them to be vulnerable, right? They don't like to be vulnerable, and being open where someone is physically touching you over your body can often make one feel very vulnerable. And that is why sometimes it can be a very hard thing for someone to probably go to a massage session, because they have to be vulnerable within that moment, because you're exposing yourself to an individual. So I understand of being touched can be a problem, where you can feel vulnerable, where you can feel like, not like you're being violated, but not that you're being violated against your rights, but you're feeling violated because you're having to be open to someone else, a stranger. So that is the number 4 why someone may not necessarily want to go and do a massage or incorporate that into their lifestyle. And number 5, the fear of getting turned on. Now that's another, things that could restrict someone. And I would say that yes, it can be a problem for someone. And when it comes to touch, the human body naturally responds a particular way. We all, as I said, are different and we respond a particular way. And if you're touched in whatever way, there are certain things that happens with your nervous system, right? And one can feel very vulnerable or very discomforted in their minds to say, oh, I'm going to be turned on if I go to do a massage. The thing about it is touch is normal, and the response of the body to touch, it responds differently for particular individuals. So if you're doing a massage, yes, for a man, it is sometimes, not all men, but sometimes as a man, based on your makeup, based on your psychology, based on your physiology, you will sometimes be aroused. And it's not that you're intentionally coming there to say in your mind, I want to be aroused, but because the person is touching you, and that sometimes could cause one to get an erection, and that is pretty much part of what can happen. And the massage therapist totally understands that and knows that. So it's not something that, the massage therapist is embarrassed about, or even you should feel embarrassed about. But I know that it can be embarrassing, because you're going to be like, okay, my body is doing this particular thing and I'm not trying to do this thing, and this person is going to be seeing me doing this thing, and you're going to feel very discomforted and very embarrassed. But I want to tell you, there's nothing to feel embarrassed about. There's nothing to feel discomforted about. It's just part of how the human body is designed and how it's made up, and how it's susceptible to touch. So I totally understand what you're saying. Even within a woman as well can feel different things vibrating through her body. The difference with it is that sometimes it's not easier to tell what a woman is feeling, or there's no outward evidence to show that she's experiencing some form of feeling within. Whereas with a man, there is an evidence, because he may have an erection and you may see. So both parties can experience the same thing, but the thing about it is that this goes away very quickly. It can come for a very, very short time, maybe a minute, maybe a few seconds, and it will go away. It will subside because the nervous system now has gotten accustomed to the touch, and it realized, okay, all right, and it just calms right back down, and it gets back to normal, and everything just goes away, and that feeling will go away. So it's really, really understandable why someone will think, I don't want to go and do a massage, or I don't want to do a session, or I want to incorporate this because I want to feel this with it. And over time, when you're doing that session with that individual, with that therapist, your body gets accustomed. It maps out a blueprint of what to expect when you come here, or what this touch feels like. So you do not feel those things, or that is not something that will happen to you on a regular basis, or it might happen to you once and it may not happen again, right? So it's not something that is prolonged. It happens all the time. It isn't, right? So just wanted to let you know that, so you're rest assured that it's pretty okay to feel that way, and I understand. And number 6 is they have issues with their body imaging. And that's something that I totally understand and get as well, that every individual is, there are some things that we don't like about ourselves, there's some things that we like about ourselves, there's some things that we wish we didn't have, there's some things that we wish we had, so we all have certain little hiccups as to what we like about ourselves and we don't like about ourselves. But at the end of the day, we have to live with who we are. So some persons may feel a sense of discomfort because of body size, so their stretch marks, they have, their belly size, different things we all probably have that we will feel discomfort. And you feel sometimes if you expose yourself like that, you're making this person know everything about you. You're vulnerable in that position. They know where you have this, they have that, and they're going to judge you, and they're going to discriminate you. And because of all these thought patterns of discrimination and being judged, it will restrict you from, wanting to do a session, because you have to be within your own space and your own self. You have to be vulnerable. So I totally understand why a person might feel that body image is going to be a problem. The therapist is going to judge them and say, why she have this, why no, no, no. That is totally understandable, and I get you. But I can also tell you that it doesn't always have to be where a person is in the nude or they have their clothes off to do a massage. A massage can be done fully clothed where you don't have to take off any clothes. So if you have body imaging problem or you have body self-esteem problem, which is where body imaging issues come from, then you can do a massage fully clothed. You don't have to take off any clothes or anything like that. The difference with doing a massage clothed and unclothed, it's just that you would be able to, you will not get stimuli to the skin because it's not skin to skin. So, but you're going to be able to target all the muscles, you'll be able to have all the feelings, the sensations, everything. And you can definitely work through the clothes. That is not a problem at all. You will be able to do stretches, you'll be able to do all the things with your clothes on. It just depends on what type of clothes that you have on. That can sometimes be restrictive. So sometimes you may have like a certain type of jeans on that within the session you may want to incorporate some stretches, and you may not necessarily be able to do that. Or you will have on a skirt or something and you may not necessarily be able to do that. So you want to always kind of that is something that as much as you can do it through your clothes and you can target everything, there's certain little things that may be needed or may want to be done within a session, that because clothing can be restrictive. But that is still not a deterrent as to using or being in clothes. Just the difference is that you may just have to wear a different type of clothing, maybe a slacks, to be able to be more free to do whatever is needed within the session. So it's just that simple. So body imaging is another one that can be very, very restrictive for someone who will probably think about who may want to do a massage session if they have that kind of mindset about body imaging. So rest assured that it doesn't always have to be done with clothes off. You can do it with your clothes on as well, right? And number 7 is they have struggles to relax their mind, and that is something that I can tell you I understand, because yes, sometimes our minds can be going on and on and on and on and on, and it can really, really keep us from allowing ourselves to really calm down and relax. And yes, it can happen within a session where if you're a person, your mind is always busy and alert. You may come and you might do a session and you may necessarily not have gotten 100% optimal benefit because your mind has been going and it's not allowing your body to get down and calm itself. And that could be a problem for some persons, but not all, and most of the times not all persons, because definitely some persons, when they come and they do a session for the first time, you're very alert in terms of what the person is doing, what they're not doing, what they're touching, what they're not touching. So you're there and you're alert, and you're gonna feel good and some burdens thrown off when you leave. But the optimal benefits of total relaxation you may not have probably experienced because of your mind being alert. But over time, working with the individual, that tends to go away because you're accustomed with this person, you know what to expect, you know what they do and everything. So that calmness of the mind, once you walk through the door, you throw that off and you're just in the moment. So that can be another reason why someone would say, what, I don't think my mind will allow me to relax, because, I'll be thinking, but it doesn't always happen, and it's not always the case. So these are just 7 things or 7 reasons why someone may not necessarily engage or go and do massage therapy, because they have these particular hiccups of what it would be and their own personal mindsets about it. So I just wanted to share that today, and probably you of your own self might be thinking this particular way and might have these certain thought patterns as to why massage therapy is not going to work for you and stuff like that. So maybe you fall within one of these 7 reasons as to why, this is not part of your lifestyle. So I hope that I would have touched on one of them that I could have pointed out and say, yeah, this is one of your reasons. But, with time and, just allowing that to have a shift in perspective, you could really, really get the benefits of what this art can really, really do for you and your health and well-being. So I hope that this was informative, it was helpful, and you have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.